Hello, my name is Craig Knudsen. Thanks for spending the next several minutes with me, allowing me to tell you about two new Clavinovas being introduced here at Believe in Music and at the Yamaha virtual booth of NAMM this year. Specifically, the Clavinova CLP-725 and the CLP-775. Let's get started. As I go through these two new models, be aware that I've already done a video, also as part of this series, that talks about a lot of the new features in the CLP-700 series. I go into more detail there. Here I'm talking about the specific features in the different models as they pertain to the whole line. Also, I do have a hint for you. Please obtain this document. This is the Clavinova Catalog. There'll be a link to this PDF after this video that you can download this directly. It's a great catalog that talks about the different Clavinova lines, including CLP, CSP, and CVP. It also talks about the different cabinet styles and the finishes that are available in each one, and then gets into individual features, some of which we'll be talking about today, of the CLP series, the CSP series, and the CVP series. So be sure you download that once we're done with this video. You may be familiar with the new CLP-725, the 745, and the 785. Let me talk now about the entry level to the Clavinova line, the CLP-725. This replaces the CLP-625, and there's some very significant improvements that make the entire line much more consistent in the 700 series. The CLP series now has a little design cue that's consistent throughout the line, specifically this new curved leg. We took cues off of the CFX, had some curved legs in the CLP-600 series. Now everything has this unique curved leg design. The CLP-725 comes in a variety of finishes, as you would expect. In this case, the rosewood cabinet, a matte black cabinet, and of course, the wonderful polished ebony cabinet. And you should know that the entire CLP-700 series features an improved sound system throughout, and the 725 is no exception. It features larger speakers. The 625 had 10-centimeter speakers. We're now increasing those to 12-centimeter speakers. And to take advantage of this new improved sound system, all new samples of this concert grand piano, the CFX. Not only did our engineers do new samples of the CFX for when you play it through speakers, they did all new samples when you plug in headphones. This is called binaural sampling, microphones in the shape of a human head that really capture this 3D effect that you get when you plug in the headphones. Again, two separate samples, whether you're playing it through the speakers or through the binaural headphone samples. This is all new in the CLP-700 series. What also is new is those two sets of samples were done at the same time. So you're hearing the same piano either through binaural samples or through regular samples that go through the speaker system. And I'm happy to say that the CLP-725 has string resonance samples as part of the new improved virtual resonance modeling. What is string resonance? Well, any acoustic piano, when you play it, of course, the other strings will vibrate in resonance. That's what gives an acoustic piano such a rich sound. And the CLP-725, the entry level, has those string resonance samples. I'll just show you very quickly. Hold the two C's below middle C and play a C chord. Look how those notes came to life. Just like an acoustic piano, consistent through the Clavinova line, starting with the entry-level CLP-725. And other things consistent throughout the line, 256 note polyphony, key off samples. This is one of the beauties of the Clavinova CLP-700 series, is this consistency from the bottom all the way to the top in these important features. The action in the CLP-725 is very consistent with the entire line, including synthetic ivory and ebony key tops, which is an absorbent type of material. It's very porous, so there's less slippage compared to plastic keys, right? There's also escapement on an acoustic piano. If you push the key down, you can feel a simulation of the jack slipping off the knuckle in an acoustic action. But the Grand Touch S action features an important feature of the main Grand Touch, and that is different fulcrum points for the white and the black keys. Said quite simply, a fulcrum on a piano key is sort of the center point, like a seesaw. When you push down the front of the key, the back of the key goes up. When you move in on the key, closer to that pivot point, it gets harder and harder to push down the key. Try this on any acoustic piano. Push this key out here versus up here. Ooh, it's harder to push it up here. Well, if you have the same fulcrum point for the white and the black keys, as many digital pianos do, these black keys are naturally harder to push down, unless you do what Yamaha did, created a new action where the white keys and the black keys have separate fulcrum points. Amazing to think that our entry-level CLP-725 has 2 fulcrum points in its basic action. This is probably my favorite feature. The Smart Pianist app was something that Yamaha created in order to operate all of our Clavinovas. Rather than create a separate app for each individual instrument, Yamaha engineers came up with the idea of creating an app for the iOS device or your Droid device that modifies itself to the instrument that it's connected to. The Smart Pianist app is particularly useful with the CLP-725 because it doesn't have individual voice buttons like higher models 35 and up. It has a voice button where you hit the keys to select different voices. If you'd like a more convenient way to do that, connect the Smart Pianist app. That means you'll put an iPad front and center and you'll be able to select voices directly with an app rather than selecting them through key selections. What an important new convenience for this entry-level product. And last but not least, and this is important to customers, if there's ever a service issue, Clavinova brand offers in-home service. Other series like YDP and Arias, they have to carry in the product to a service center. Well, there you have it. That's the CLP-725 entry level. Now we're going to talk about a new 775. It's very helpful to see where it fits in the overall Clavinova lineup of CLPs. CLP-785, of course, is the flagship. And I talked about a lot of the new features of the 785 in the other video that I did on the CLP-700 series. I hope you'll refer to that to get more detail on the specific features. Then there's the mid-level 745, 735, and the entry-level 725 that we just talked about. So the 775 is nestled between the flagship 785 and that upgraded mid-level product called the 745, which begs the question, what features did we remove from the 85 to get to the 775? But more interestingly, what features do we add to the 45 in order to get that mid-level sweet spot for the 775? And that's what I view the 775. People who don't necessarily want to get the absolute flagship, but who want an upgrade for a reasonable price from the 745. And the advantages are quite extensive. First of all, let's talk about the cabinet design. The CLP-785 pictured here, you notice the music rest is on the front and has a folding key cover, much like an upright piano. CLP-775 has the music rack on top, a little smaller cabinet, and it has a sliding key cover. The CLP-775 has a slightly less powerful amplifier and slightly smaller speakers, but still has the transducers in the piano and the speaker box. However, there are no spruce cone speakers. They are regular Yamaha high-quality speakers. The CLP-775 has 15 fewer voices and no drum kits, and also does not contain the XG soundset chip. It still has a grand touch action with linear graded hammers, very impressive, but it does not have those individual counterweights within the keys themselves. And the CLP-775 doesn't have an auxiliary in pedal, most often used for an expression pedal for some of the organ voices and string voices when you want to add expression to voices by increasing and decreasing the pedal like you might find on an organ. Now, rather than comparing the CLP-775 to the flagship 785 and viewing it as a glass that's half empty, why don't we compare it to the CLP-745 and show you how many amazing features you get without having to upgrade all the way up to the flagship. And this list is impressive. Imagine a customer seeing and hearing this when they've got a 745 right next to a 775. First of all, the 775 has a larger cabinet design. It's more impressive to look at. It's got the touch sensor control panel. 745 has buttons. This has the touch sensor control panel that disappears if you don't touch it. It looks like a regular cheek block. The second you touch it, you see the buttons, the voices, and then it disappears once again once you don't touch it. Really cool. Be sure you check out the other video. The 775 has more power in the amplifiers and larger speakers. It's got an enclosed speaker box. That's important for a greater dynamic response. The 775 has those transducers. The first time we've used those transducers from our hybrid series in a Clavinova. That's how you get that 3D piano effect. That's also how you get those high-end transients, as though those sounds are coming out of a real wood soundboard. 775 has a full Grand Touch keyboard, not the S. It's got a linear graded hammer action. The 775, compared to the 45, has a different size hammer for every key. On the 745, they're grouped in groups of different size hammers. The 775 has a GP response pedal. That's a variable resistance pedal like an acoustic piano. When you first push it down, it's easy to push, and then it gets heavier as you lift dampers, and then at the end it's easy. It feels just like an acoustic piano. And my favorite thing is you get two more of those forte pianos. The 745 and the 735 had the Mozart and Chopin pianos. You add the Cristofori and the Beethoven piano to the 775 and higher. Now that's an impressive list. Well, there you have it. The entry-level CLP-725 rounds out that CLP-700 line perfectly, and the new sweet spot CLP-775. Looking forward to seeing everyone next year at NAMM, but in person. Bye for now.